Can we start with a short presentation? Who are you? What did you study? And what were your jobs?
Yes. So my name is David Eelbode. I was born in Ghent, and that's where I studied mathematics. That was already a difficult process to choose, because I think at some point I wanted to be a physicist, because I'm really interested in black holes and relativity and so on. But they made me realize that in order to properly understand that, you should do mathematics. So I started studying mathematics. Then at some point I was offered the opportunity to do a PhD. And from one thing came another. And at some point there was a job interview to become a professor. And apparently as a kid, I told my parents that I either wanted to be a professor or an inventor. And I think being a researcher is a combination of both. So I do invent things, abstract things, and I have the opportunity to teach at the University of Antwerp. So I moved from Ghent to Antwerp.
And so, as a professor, did you teach geometric algebra to your students?
Well, it's a funny question to ask, because I do teach a course in so-called Clifford analysis. Now, Clifford analysis, first of all, is analysis, and it has the word Clifford. Now, a geometric algebra is an example of a Clifford algebra. You could say they're synonyms, but that's not really true, because the focus is different. And I now realize that my course on Clifford analysis is such an awful course, because I have to switch more to the language of geometric algebra, I think. The geometric picture, like what I presented today, is a result of trying to think more geometrically. So I would say that from an algebraic point of view, it's exactly the same thing. But in the geometric algebra frame of mind, you're paying more attention to the geometry behind it, and that can be very useful.
How will you explain what geometric algebra is to someone who never heard about it?
Well, I would start talking about mirrors. We all know what a mirror is, and I would just tell a story about mirrors. It, of course, depends on the age and experience of who I'm talking to. If he or she knows what a complex number is, then I would use two mirrors, and I would use that to explain how complex numbers come from mirrors. Because I think when you are, well, I was 16, 17 years old, and someone told me there's a special number, we call it I, and when you square it, you get -1. I said, what? And I wanted to leave the room, because this is not possible, so it feels very unnatural. Whereas if you do it in terms of those mirrors, I think it is very natural. So I think that is what I would do.